So it's nearly Christmas, and I figured I had my knife of the year list figured out. And then I just got a couple of knives in from Kizer via the pass around group. And one of them has me rethinking one of my lists entirely. Which one? Stick around. What's up, Kripple Krew? EDC with DBD, disabled but deadly. And that's right, we're talking about a couple of Kizers today. And I am going to try to keep it moving quickly since we're covering two knives. But before I get into that, do me a favor, stab that like button like you mean it. /subscribe. I love to have you here. You're not going to want to miss all the dope knife and EDC content coming your way. You can bash that bell if you like notifications. If you like what I'm doing here. It only costs a couple of bucks a month to join the Kripple Krew Inc. That's completely up to you. And drop one comment below at least, letting me know what's in your pockets. All right, enough of that. So these two knives came in via the Lefty Pass Around group. And like I said, I think one of them might have me rethinking my knife of the year lists in one of the categories. I'm going to show you both knives, and I bet you by the time I get to the end of them, you'll know which one it is. But we will start out with the Kizer Exist. And what the Kizer Exist is a 6.79 inch overall length knife with a 2.78 inch modified Wharncliffe blade. They call it a drop point of NitroV with a flat grind and a black wash PVD finish. Rocking a 110 thousandths blade stock thickness with some very useful jimping here and here. I like that. We have a handle length of 4 inches exactly, with a handle material of Micarta with this really cool tread pattern over steel liners that are skeletonized for weight reduction. We are looking at a ambidextrous right hand or left hand, tip up as the gods intended, deep carry pocket clip. It is not inset, but it does have flat screws. Like I said, it is reversible, which is nice because this has Kizer's clutch lock, which is an ambidextrous lock. And with those thumb studs, ambidextrous studs, you can use this with either hand very easily. Easy reverse flick or thumb flick with the left hand for me. Of course, you can open it with that crossbar. You can thumb flick, you can swoop, you can slow roll. You can even do the 5-finger flick with this baby if you wanted to. Our overall weight on this is 2.84 ounces. So this is definitely what I would consider a nice lightweight knife. That NitroV is at an HRC of 60 to 61, which is right where you'd want to see NitroV. And if you're not familiar, NitroV is a German steel that is very corrosion resistant. It's decently tough, and it holds its edge for an all right time, but it's easy to sharpen at home. You can keep it stropped. It's not quite as stroppable as 14C 28N, but still easy to strop and sharpen at home. Kizer's clutch lock. Let me grab a flashlight. Is an adjustable axis style or crossbar lock. So see if I can get this to highlight those 5 little holes. They're a little dusty in there. Let me wipe that out. There we go. All right. On either side, there is 5 little holes that There we go. I think I'm getting that right behind the crossbar. 5 holes on each side. And that allows you to adjust the spring tension on this. I can't see. Normally it's pretty easy to tell which one it's in. It looks like it's in the middle position right now. But with 5 different positions on either side, it lets you really move that either spring around so that you can dial in the crossbar right where you like it. I typically like them with as much strength on the spring as possible. And to get that resistance, extra resistance, you would move the springs forward closer towards the actual pivot of the knife. If you wanted to loosen the spring tension, you would move those back. So very easy to adjust. And that Kizer does that on all of their clutch locks. It's one of the reasons that a lot of folks consider Kizer's crossbar the best in the game. I'm going to give you a few size comparisons. We're going to start off with the OG evergreen status Kizer's crossbar clutch lock legend, the Drop Bear. And as you can see, the Drop Bear is a little bit longer than the Kizer Exist. How about the Dirk Pinkerton designed Kizer Escort, which is a fairly large knife for a crossbar lock, as you can see. Couple more size comparisons. How about a Kubi? One of them. This also has an adjustable crossbar and some of the best crossbar action I have ever felt in my life. One more crossbar. We'll go with the Olight Rubato 4, which is also OEM'd by Kizer and is actually just the same length as a Drop Bear pretty much, so a little bit longer than the Exist. 2 more in case you're not familiar with those knives. We will go with the legendary PM2, which is going to be quite a bit longer than the Exist, and the iconic Dimco 80-20.5, which is still a bit longer, but actually very similar in cutting edge. A little bit more on the Dimco Sharkfoot, but not a whole lot. So there's some good size comparisons. Now, we're going to talk ergos. First, this blade shape lends itself well. Before ergos, I'm going to talk about the blade shape because it does lead into ergos, but this blade shape being a modified Wharncliffe lends itself to all types of EDC tasks and utility type tasks because it puts this point so far below the pivot, meaning it's very easy to get that point down on whatever you're cutting. The shape of this blade and that awesome useful jimping right there mean that it's a nice grip right here to do any type of utility or draw cut. This blade shape really lends itself well to that. It also lends itself well to slicing because there's not a lot of belly, meaning you can stay in that cut for a long time. The belly is very slight. You'll stay in that cut without sliding out. Now, we've talked about the blade shape and why that's useful for EDC tasks, slicing, utility cuts. It also is a good shape for like turnaround and cutting straps. Again, because there's not a lot of belly, it helps you from sliding out. But the ergos now. So I like a continuous curve this way usually. It goes in your hand very well when you're holding a knife when it has that curve. I'm not a big fan of this big old swell in the middle though, because even though there's enough real estate This is not a large, or, this would definitely be considered a medium. This is almost a small ADC. It has the real estate for my hand, no doubt. But it doesn't feel comfortable anywhere. And because I'm not comfortable, it makes the knife feel smaller than it is. And, like, pardon me, back here with my pinky on this ledge, I can get behind this swell. And way back here, it's not too uncomfortable. But I don't like to work way back here normally, especially when my hands are twitchy. I like to be up closer to the blade. And you would think with this spot right here, it'd be very easy for me to get up behind that blade and work. But with my extra large hands, I'm not comfortable on this. It makes everything fall in the wrong place for me. If you had smaller hands, this might work really well for you. But I think this should have been made much smaller or just made continuous behind this swell. What I mean is, see how that's a lot smoother? That's a bad example because that one does have a hump, but most of my crossbar locks after that swell, in so many knives, it's just more comfortable when it goes back like that. I don't like that extra hump very much. Now, turning around to cut straps is actually pretty comfortable. Some chest lever grips, and a crossbar lock is one of the strongest locks for folding knives. So if you're doing some stronger tasks like that, I wouldn't worry about this knife. In a beef jerky defender grip or Avenger grip, I'm capped off here, and with this grippy micarta, I don't feel like I'm gonna slip. But it's not the most comfortable grip for my hand. A beef jerky defender, however, does not feel bad at all. That's actually the most comfortable grip for me for this knife. The quality of the micarta is always spot on with Kizer. This is no different. This is the first time I've seen this pattern from them, but this is still very high quality canvas micarta. The pocket clip is done well. It's got the right tension. It does go in and out of the pocket well, even with this pattern on the micarta. But let's talk action. So, the thumb flick, reverse flick is just fine. It does feel like the spring tension is rather light. I would definitely want to move this up if this were my knife. But it works just fine, thumb flick, reverse flick, as you can see. But that right there's my issue with the action on this. It feels like there's a delay when I pull back that lock. Watch when I pull this back. Pull it back, the knife falls. SRM. Pull it back, blade falls. Pull it back, blade falls. Kizer Escort. Blade falls as soon as I pull it back. One more, we'll go with the drop bear. Well, that didn't close all the way, but that's not what I was talking about. It still closes as soon as I pull it back. There's a delay that just feels icky. It's like button stick on a button lock, but on a crossbar. And what I think it is right in here where the crossbar goes over the tang. It's not cleaned up very well. It's starting to get cleaned up a little bit by me flicking it in and out. It was a lot dirtier than that, where they had removed the black wash coating, and it's starting to wear off the crossbar as well. But right there, it's very dirty. And that grind, I can't tell if that's very flat or not. I think It could just be the coating, but it might be that that's kind of rough right there, that grind. Whatever it is, it makes it feel wrong. I'm guessing that the aluminum version with 154 cm probably doesn't have that issue because that's a satin coated blade, and I've never felt that in a clutch lock before. And I think that if this were mine, I would take it apart and I would clean the rest of the finish, the PVD finish, off of the tang of the blade where it meets, wherever it's going to roll around with in contact with that crossbar. And I would clean off the inside, at least the underside of the crossbar as well. And I think that would probably get rid of it because typically Kizer's clutch lock feels great. So my suggestion, if this knife is the size that you like, and I love the blade shape and jimping, then this one here is like $59.99, and for only $6 or more, or $7 more, $66.99, you can get aluminum scales, gray aluminum scales with a satin 154 cm blade. So better edge retention, aluminum scales, and probably better action for a few dollars more. Let's talk about the Hare. The Hare is Kizer's newest EDC size fixed blade, and it immediately reminds me of a big brother to the Muskrat. And I wish I still had the Muskrat here. The one that I had was in from the pass around, and it had to be sent back out. However, I do know that I'm receiving a Muskrat for Christmas, and I'm very excited about that. I just don't have it to compare to the knife right now. But what we are looking at with the Hare is a 7-inch overall knife with a 3.14-inch clip point blade with a satin and Stonewash dual finish that looks fantastic. NitroV blade again. We've got a blade stock thickness of 154 thousandths, or 157 thousandths, so it's definitely a thicker blade stock, but which is nice for a fixed blade. It's going to add a lot of toughness. That has a handle length of 3.86 inches with black. This version is black micarta over orange G10 liners. There's actually 5 versions, 3 of which are Amazon exclusives. And the weight on this comes in at 4.22 ounces with the sheath, which is not bad at all. The sheath itself has good retention. I'm going to talk about the sheath real quick and get it over with, because the sheath is my one negative with this knife. I wish that they would have done this as a taco style sheath like they did with the Muskrat versus the pancake style sheath, because this knife is a great size for a front pocket fixie. And if this was a one singular piece, when I say taco style, I mean it's a singular piece of Kydex folded over. I'll grab one. Here's one of its competitors. This is the Corvid S. The Corvid S fixie from Concept, and their sheath is one piece of Kydex folded over and then riveted down here. So it makes it a much smaller package than having all of this hang out all the way around. Now this allows for a lot more lashing options, but you would have plenty with today's, for one, you could still mount this Tech-Lock style clip on this side. It would fit these holes, but with ulti clips and such nowadays, it makes this right here plenty of real estate for throwing a clip on there for it. And then you can make this a front pocket drop. So the sheath is my only negative about the knife, and the sheath is done very well. It's not a bad sheath at all. The clip style, you know, these are adjustable or removable for your belt width. And then that's a nice snap. And you can put this on your belt when your belt's already on, so which makes it easier to and remove it without taking your belt off. You have a nice spot right here to push off. And again, great retention. No rattle at all. So the sheath is well made. I just wish it was a taco style sheath. While we have this out, we're going to do some size comparisons right quick. Starting with that Corvette S fixie, which is very similar in size, just a little bit shorter. How about my first EDC fixie, the Kubi Dust Devil? And it's going to come in just very close, slightly shorter, barely, than the Dust Devil, I think. And one more. We will go with my Under the Bridge custom undertow. And as you will see, it is bigger than my undertow. But it's a great size for an EDC fixie or an outdoor knife, you know, a companion style backpacking knife. The spine is crowned all the way from this jimping back and around all the way underneath, so everywhere your fingers land except for past the first row of jimping is crowned. Including that first row still feels great. Up here, it's not crowned, obviously, but it's still very useful jimping. I love when companies give us secondary jimping, because a lot of the times we're using these knives in a utility style pinch grip. Or if you're going to use this knife for skinning, this is a great skinner. NitroV being very corrosion resistant, and the fact that you can take this apart to clean everything, this would be a really nice skinner. So this blade shape here, we have a straight clip point, and if this was a folding knife, our tip would be right about center line with the pivot. We've got quite a bit of belly here, but it isn't hard to get that tip down. But it's very easy to use that belly to cut down on a flat surface. Any cuts on a flat surface, I don't know if this is going to work over the mat, but yeah, I don't have enough resistance over the mat, would be very easy. Also, this is a great knife for outdoor kitchen style work. This would be really good for chopping up some vegetables, or, you know, or your meat. Let's talk ergonomics. So this micarta is chamfered beautifully well, and along with that crowned spine, it just makes a very comfortable package in hand. I do have enough real estate that I can grip it back here, and it's comfortable because we have a little bit of a dip here, but we have pretty much continuous. It goes from thinner to thicker, so it fills out your hand very well. Right up here in that spot where your index finger lands, my hammer grip is very comfortable. That's very hand-filling handles right there. So I could grip this for a long time without my hand cramping up. Same with the saber grip here, and that's where this knife would really shine. If I really wanted some control, I can get my thumb out here, but it's also, like I showed, really great for the pinch grip. If you're going to turn this around and cut some straps or some chest lever grips, so say you're outdoors, You can do that just fine. Now, if you're cutting straps, you're going to want to be careful because your belly does start pretty early, so it'd be easy to slip out of it. Beef Jerky Avenger. I am capped off on that round butt that is actually jimped, I just noticed for the first time. Really locking me in. And right here, I am locked in so that I'm not going to slide past and up over that blade if there's any beef jerky juice. Plus, Micarta gets stickier when it gets wet. So I definitely wouldn't be sliding if there's any beef jerky juice. Now in the Defender grip, normally there's a pocket clip that goes right there to lock it in. Of course, we don't have that here, but we still have that beautiful jimping. And I feel like I'm locked in the Defender grip. Definitely not going to slide on any beef jerky juice. A fixed blade, if you are in a beef jerky defense scenario, a fixed blade is the best for that situation because you don't have anything that's going to fail unless you snap the blade. This micarta feels amazing in hand. I love this black color. They do have G10 options available as well. They also have D2 as well as the 154 CM. I had them all pulled up. Where did you go? Where did you go? Yeah, we've got orange G10, black G10, and then there's a brown, like a burlap micarta with a black wash blade, and then canvas, this one here, and then an OD green G10. And they come with NitroV or D2. So you're looking at $47.95 up to $59.95. So 48 to 60 bucks. You are getting, I think that's a fantastic price for this knife. It definitely feels like a bigger brother to the Muskrat. And I mean that in a good way because I love the Kizer Muskrat. This is, if you want something just a little bit bigger and more hand filling, then this is for you. You do have this big giant hole that you can throw a lanyard on if you want, but this handle is large enough that you don't need to. You know that I like to on my EDC size fixies, but this one I don't feel the need to at all. I feel like I have a bigger knife in hand because of the way that they've done these handles so perfectly well. Azo does such great designs. Before we wrap this up, we do got to check them edges. Kizer typically does fantastic factory edges. And it seems like the Exist is no different. How about the hair? Their NitroV, oh yeah, it takes such a good edge. This is so comfortable too. And this does have the thicker blade stock, but as you can see with that tall flat grind, it gets down to a nice slicey edge. Let's check out the plunge grind and sharpening choil. So on this one, let me move this stuff out of the way because I want the camera to focus. I know we're going long-winded. I'm almost done, folks. We just got to clean this stuff out. Oh, I did want to point out, Kizer had their 11th anniversary this year. Props to Kizer. And that's what I'm looking for. So, our plunge grind starts way back here, but it doesn't terminate until all the way up here. We do have some sharpening life on here, as you can see, a little bit. But this could have been done better if this would have been brought up. For one, the plunge grind termination could have been brought back. That would have left you more sharpening life. Or you can always cut your own in just by making this a little taller. Bringing that out a little. That NitroV though, it should be a little while before you need to do that. Let's look at the sharpening choil on the Exist. And that's nothing coming off the coating there. That's actually just marks from the paper being left on the blade. So that would wipe right off. So once again, get rid of that paper in my hand. This one's a little harder to see because of the black. But our plunger head starts here and it stops right here. This one, they left us more sharpening life, definitely. A little bit than on the hair. But they're both done decent. Let's do a quick hardware check. We are T8 pivot, of course. T6 on the thumb studs. T8 on the body. T6. So T8 body screws. I don't know what I'm doing on there. And I just realized that's not a capture. Well, it might be captured pivot. Does it require two tools? Let's see. Okay, no, it is a captured pivot. So you don't need two tools at the same time to take it off at least. But so your T6 on the pocket screws and on the thumb studs. And then on the hair, we only have two. And they are both T8s. So the hair, I like everything about it. I just wish that it had a taco style sheath for pocket carry. However, with the sheath it has, this would carry beautifully appendix style with the handle right in front of my belt. That's how I would carry the Kizer Hare. Now, my nitpicks on the Exist, I would like to see T8s on the pocket clips too. The reason you'll hear reviewers say T8s or bigger is because they're less likely to strip. I've had T6s strip, so that's why. Then, I love the micarta. I'm just not a big fan of this big swell right here and then going down to thinner. It might fit your hands better than mine though. The sharpening choil is done well, but they should have cleaned off the tang of the blade a little bit better. It's already gotten a lot better than when I first got it. And as you can see, it's really breaking in now. So it was just the coating on the tang of the blade. Now it's feeling much better. So if I were to move those screws forward, I think this would actually feel great. So that was just a spot where it wasn't cleaned properly, and that might just be this particular knife. So I'm not going to count that against it now. The action is working nice now. It just doesn't fit my hand quite as well as another one of their new crossbar locks this year, the Task. The Kizer Task does fit my hand very well, and I think that would be my choice for clutch lock of the year. I want to know your thoughts on both of these knives. I don't have a Kizer affiliate link, but I do have an Amazon affiliate link. And that is, I'm going to link in the description and the comments of this video a link to my list of Kizer knives on Amazon. If you want to purchase knives through that link, that helps the channel, but that's completely up to you. You can find both of these on Kizer.com or Amazon. These are sold out on the Kizer website currently, but not on Amazon. Let me know what you think. Which one's your favorite? I hope everybody has a killer weekend. Stay safe. Stay frosty. Most importantly, stay deadly. Okay, it takes long. I'm out.